Hi, and welcome to Screens in Focus podcast, where we share and connect as we spotlight our favorite shows and movies. I'm Diana.
And I'm Brooke.
And this is episode 67. Today we will be talking about El Camino, a Breaking Bad movie.
Awesome.
Before we dive in, how are you doing today, Brooke?
Doing great. Thank you so much. I just finished up with work, so I'm hanging out with you in our pop-up studio.
I love it.
Me too. And we got some delicious jalapeno artichoke dip.
I know,
that is like
so good.
Such a guilty pleasure.
It is.
And I'm like, why haven't we been eating this whole time? Now I know.
I know, with some good pita chips.
So good.
Yeah, Trader
Thank
Joe's
you.
always has some good stuff. Man.
Good.
So we're having a good time.
Yeah.
And so we recently watched this movie that we couldn't wait for.
I love this movie. How about you? What did you think of this movie, El Camino?
I was so happy to watch this movie along with 25 million other people.
Oh.
Those are the numbers released by Netflix recently. So Jesse Pinkman returns in this movie, picking up where the series left off, and it shows his journey in the aftermath of a gang massacre. So he's dealing with PTSD and trying to escape to a new life. And I really like this movie. I really like that this movie is told with flashbacks because we are able to see so many of our favorite characters who are gone, and I think it really moved the story forward.
I think so too. And I really like that in the beginning you had the option to watch the intro, which is the recap of what happened in the whole entire series of Breaking Bad. And I have not rewatched Breaking Bad since I ended it a few years ago. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, ooh, that's really clever. I'm glad that they did that, because I almost forgot certain things, and I forgot about the neo-Nazis, and I knew that Jesse Pinkman was captured, but I didn't remember all the details, and I thought that recap was so helpful.
I think I missed that recap.
You could have skipped it if you wanted to. So
maybe I accidentally skipped it. I'm going to have to go back and rewatch it. I've watched this movie twice, and I've read things to help catch me up. But I, too, forgot about the whole neo-Nazi thing a little bit. I'm like, wait, I just caught up. I'm like, okay. In my mind, I'm like, okay, I accepted what I was seeing and just moved forward.
Because Heisenberg, let them take him. Because I guess they had a bad blood, and I don't remember that. But it had so it makes me want to go back to watch Breaking Bad.
Me too.
Yeah, it was so good.
Yeah. So
friends out there listening, please let us know what you think about El Camino, a Breaking Bad movie. You can leave us a comment on Twitter at Screens in Focus, or at our Screens in Focus Facebook page. You can also follow us on Instagram and subscribe to our website and our YouTube channel. Let us know what you think about the movie El Camino, a Breaking Bad movie.
Yeah, so like we said, we see this in flashbacks. And one of the first flashbacks we see is with Jesse and Mike. And so it was fun seeing Mike again in this flashback. Jesse and Mike are talking by the river, and Jesse asks Mike what advice he would give his younger self. And Mike says, I would say, go to Alaska. It's the last frontier, and you can start again.
I tripped out at that moment because I'm thinking, okay, so I see them talking by the lake, and then I don't. And then later, or I had just seen him get shot.
I know. In
the recap. And I'm like, wait, so, and then Jesse had no scars on his face. So I was totally confused.
I was too at the very beginning. But then as you move forward, you understand. Because I think, wait, isn't he dead?
And then it's current Jesse Pinkman, the actor. So he looks different,
right?
So I'm like, where's the scars at? And then the whole movie, I'm all, is he gonna come? I was so confused. I thought he was gonna reappear, and then I thought he was gonna show how he removed his scars. I'm all, did he get laser treatment? That was terrible. Mm-hmm. But yes, it was really good to see Mike and Jesse speaking, and and then he was talking about his money. Like, what are you going to do with now that you're rich or something?
Yes.
So I was lost.
Yeah.
I was so lost. Uh-huh. But with Jesse and Skinny Pete and Badger, We see Skinny Pete and Badger gaming it up, and I love the way that they filmed that, because Jesse was escaping in the El Camino, and then it goes to Badger and Skinny Pete playing the vehicle, and I'm like, and for a minute there
it looked like a video game, right?
Yeah.
You're like, wait, his car looks like a video game. You're like, oh, it is a video game.
It had me fooled.
Yes, me too.
But I love to see that they were still friends and they were still doing what they would do in the series. And then we see Jesse knocking on the door, and then obviously they question who he is at first. They're like, oh,
they don't recognize him.
Yeah, and then they realize who he is. And then we see Jesse like looking as if he has not eaten in days, and he's like slurping on that cup of noodle, and I just thought he was gonna get sick, but then obviously he falls asleep in the bed, and it looked like maybe 27 hours later, he slept, and they just look like brothers, just taking care of their brother.
Yeah.
And, oh man, you want a shower? That might make you feel better. I got some Obsession cologne, and here's a towel. Well, it's kind of clean, but you can use it.
I loved it.
Right? And then Jesse's like taking a shower with the weapon. The gun is all wet. And the mud that just is coming off of his body was so devastating to see Jesse like that, with all his scars everywhere and his PTSD that he's experiencing.
It was great, them showing where he's at. I thought that was so telling of him. So, and Skinny Pete and Badger are the great comical relief. They crack me up, and I love that they are so loyal to Jesse. They have a great friendship. And Jesse asks Skinny Pete, why are you doing this? And Skinny Pete says, because you're my hero and shit.
I know.
Oh, I thought that was so cool.
I had to really pay attention, because he was like, take the car, you go this way, and ditch the car and hitchhike back, and then you're going to take my Fiero. And I was picturing a Fiero. I'm like, I have not seen a Fiero on the road in decades.
Right.
So I was actually really excited to see a Fiero.
Yeah. That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
That little car. I used to like that little car.
Yeah.
So it was pretty cute.
All the details of this is just really awesome. Oh my gosh. Then we see Jesse and Todd. So I hated seeing Jesse in captivity in these flashbacks with Todd. Todd is part of the neo-Nazi gang that is forcing Jesse to make meth, and they have him in a cage or he's chained up. And so one day Todd lets Jesse out and takes him to his apartment, and Jesse soon finds out the point of the trip. So Todd, who is a creepy psycho, kills his maid because she found out where he hid his money. And then, later on he contemplates where his new hiding place will be.
Okay, well, first of all, on their way driving to Todd's apartment, Jesse's in the passenger seat. Okay, and then when they leave the apartment, he's back in the El Camino bed with the body.
I know.
Okay, so I don't know about you.
Yeah.
I was cracking up at that scene where they went upstairs. So they see him helping him drop the camper shell on the El Camino.
Yeah.
And Jesse goes, is this all the help that you needed from me? And he goes, well, we're going to go upstairs. So they go upstairs, and then Jesse's reaction when he sees that dead maid.
Yes. He's freaking out. And the guy's all like,
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Dead body. I can't imagine walking into a place where there's a dead body. Give me a heads up or something.
Yeah,
right?
but that guy is just so... That's what I'm saying. He's so wacko. He's all, I want some soup.
Okay.
And he's all like, that's the creepy part of him, because nothing is phasing him. He can just kill people. Before they wrap the body up, he takes the belt off the lady's neck and puts it back on his belt, in his pants.
That part made me laugh out loud hysterically, because we see them rolling up the body in the carpet, and then he's like, wait, hold on, I forgot something.
Yeah.
They unroll her body. Okay. She's like thump, 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 rolling. And then he's like, oh, here, takes off the belt, puts it on him. So he's got DNA evidence all over him now. And they roll her back up, leave her there. He's like, are you hungry? Do you want to eat a sandwich?
No.
He makes soup and he's like trying to get the soup out of the can like it's refried beans. It's stuck. And he gets a spoon. And it's just everything about that scene. I was rolling on the floor laughing. Right? Yes. And the body's just in the background and he's cooking and then he eats it and it looks disgusting when they're eating it. So then they have to get the body out of the house. So they drop her body in the rug over the balcony. I know. It's like so crazy. This poor lady. So great acting, great scene. I'm so glad we got to see that.
Yeah. So what about Jesse and Ed?
Oh, yes. First of all, I was really disappointed to see that Jesse had the $250,000 that he got his third cut. So it was $1 million that they found with those fake cops, right, in the refrigerator. So then they split the money in thirds without the other guy knowing.
Right.
And it's because he knows he's not going to kill him. So he takes the 250, which he should have taken the half after that, right? But oh well, we don't know. So then he goes to the vacuum store and he brings the 250 in the store. So the guy's like, oh, this $100K is from your debt. I need another
125, I think.
125. I need the rest, or I need and he was like 1,800 short.
Right.
He's all, yeah, you got to go. Sorry, calling the cop. That was such a great scene. And I love that actor from Jackie Brown.
Yes.
Amazing. What did you think about Jesse and Ed?
Oh man. I watched the movie the day it was released, originally on 10/11. And I thought to myself, when I was watching it, Robert Forster is such a great actor. I love his portrayals. I loved him in Jackie Brown. I love his quietness about him. His performances are very nuanced and funny. You believe him 100%. So I was so saddened to hear about his passing right after finishing the movie.
Right.
I was like heartbroken. I'm like, no.
Yeah. I was glad to see that he ended up getting him the rest of the money, and at the end of the movie he was able to
help him.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
Just Walt, and he was like a ghost. He just, they met in the diner.
So I never wanted to believe, and I'm telling you, I never wanted to believe that Walt had died. Somehow I hoped that he had crawled away, even though he was bleeding out. I mean, look at Rick and possibly Morgan in The Walking Dead. So it's possible. It's possible.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was so happy to see Walter White because this whole series made me have such an appreciation for Bryan Cranston. And I want to watch everything he's in because he's so good.
Yeah.
So in this flashback, we see Walt and Jesse walk down the hallway of this hotel they're in. And all they do is walk, but their silence says so much. They are both so powerful and confident, and you can feel their chemistry. So they go to have breakfast, and the RV is, parked outside. And Walt asked Jesse what he would major in if he went to college. Jesse keeps telling Walt to stay hydrated. So, this takes place sometime in season 2, and they are still in a good place in their relationship. And they're making lots of money. But what was interesting was Walt's last remark. He says to Jesse, "You are lucky. You didn't have to wait all your life to do something special."
Yeah, and he just got out of saying or assuming that Jesse, he's like, maybe you should go get your GED. And he's like, why?
Yeah.
He's all, I have my diploma. He's all, I graduated. He's all, you were on the stage right next to me.
Yeah, I know.
I was laughing. And then when he asked him what you would do if you went to college, he says, I don't know, like sports medicine. He's all, really? Yeah. Sports medicine? What about business?
Yeah.
He's like, you would blow everybody out of the water if you went into sales and marketing or something. And, I thought that was really good coaching that, they like their relationship that they had, that he was a mentor to Jesse. But Walt, I call him Heisenberg, he needed him. You'll see in the recap how much he needed Jesse. And every time Jesse needed to get out, Heisenberg was kind of greedy and he needed more and more. And Jesse was like, I'm done, and then he's already suffered through PTSD when he lost his girlfriend.
Yeah.
And so they definitely were codependent in some ways. And I think honestly, I think some of the relationship that they had was pretty abusive. You know, I think that he took advantage of Jesse.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
and
I didn't like that. But, you know, it's the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
So.
What about Jesse and Jane? We see that toward the end of the film.
Yeah, I must have been dozed off. I don't know. I could not understand what was happening there. I did not understand their perspective. Do you know how many times I rewound that part just so that I could make sure that I understand what's going on?
Yeah.
So can you give me some insight, because I don't see it?
Well, it was short, and I think I believe what she was trying to tell him was to take control of his life and not just like let things happen. Like, she always felt like she was just following things or doing things because it was meant to. That's how life played out. But she was telling him to take control of his life, which I think was perfect because that's what he's doing ultimately in the end. And so I think that's what she was trying to offer him.
I see.
Because it was a short scene.
Yeah.
But it was interesting that it was her that, you know, came back to him. So it just shows he did really love her.
Yeah.
You know?
But they talked about Alaska together too, right?
Oh, they had? See, I didn't recall that. So
yeah.
What about, I just want to bring up really briefly the shootout that he had with the guys.
Pop, 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 pop.
That was cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like the gun in the pocket.
Yeah, I absolutely. And you see those fake cops with their money, and they get the prostitutes and or their escorts, and then they're like doing drugs and hanging out with some other weirdos, and then Jesse shows up like a ghost walked through the door, and then he was able to retrieve the rest of his what he found.
Right. He just wanted the $1,800. They should have just given it to them, given it to him, and everybody would have been happy. But you know what? I'm glad that they're dead. Because that guy was part of the guy that helped him, you know, welding up his cage
when he was
his shackles and everything. So it's like, bye-bye, see ya.
Yeah.
But it was very cool. That was very satisfying for sure.
For sure, totally. What were other things that you noticed, Diana?
So just the music. Isn't it always the music with me? So when Todd is driving with Jesse, they play Sharing the Night Together by Dr. Hook, which I just had recently heard that song. I hate that Todd was the one singing it. It just goes to show how creepy he is. He's always singing these love songs as he's driving in this car with dead bodies in the back seat or whatever. But that song, and then I'd really love to see you tonight. So I just thought it was cool music, but horrible circumstances. And also, well, I'm not sure what time period this is, but I keep seeing Jesse with yellow pages. I'm like, okay, nobody really has yellow pages hardly anymore. I don't think. Right? Because everybody just looks everything up on the internet. But I thought it was interesting that so many times Jesse went to the yellow pages and tore things out or looked things up. So
I think it's supposed to be like in the mid 2000s.
Oh, and maybe that's why. Yeah.
Because his phone was a Motorola Razr phone that his friend gave him. And then, his parents. Yeah. His parents were on the news, and I thought that was really heartbreaking when the news journalist said, "What would you say to your son right now?" And then the mother said, basically, in a long story short, turn yourself in, not "I love you, son.
I know.
Please, we are so worried about you. We just want you to be safe." I wouldn't be like, go to the police right now. I'd be like, son, I love you.
Yeah, you're right.
I hope that you're okay.
So true.
You are my son.
Yeah.
And then the dad said nothing. And Jesse was in Todd's house when he tore apart the apartment looking for the money, and because he had seen the neighbor across the way. That's how he saw his parents on TV. So he turned on the TV and it blasted, and then he found out what his parents were saying, which I thought was heartbreaking. And it just goes to show maybe why Jesse is the vulnerable person that he is because of his upbringing. And obviously his parents really didn't, he called his parents.
Yes.
Also. And
it was cool what he said to them, though. He said, so I can't remember the exact words, but it's basically, don't blame yourself. You did the best that you could. Yeah. And anything that I do is on me.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesse.
Yeah. So he's a wanted man. And then when he and Todd went to the desert and Jesse got a hold of a gun.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, is he going to do? But poor guy. My heart was breaking because he could have done it. And Todd was like, I was thinking of going in to get some getting us some food. Like, you've really earned it. How about pizza? What's your favorite pizza? Like, trying to get him out of the mind of shooting him, right? Because Jesse had it in his hand. And then poor Jesse just cries.
Yeah.
He just tears up and cries because he's stuck.
Yeah.
He can't even...
Reminded me of Game of Thrones.
What part?
That part, your captor you have the upper hand, but you're so afraid, and then you just don't go through with it and you let it go,
Yeah, so that was heartbreaking to me. That was really hard for me to watch. And so, yeah, I think that's pretty much that I noticed. I'll have to watch it again and see if I miss anything else.
Yeah.
But I loved it. Diana, why do you love this movie?
I love Breaking Bad series so much, and I think it's one of the most well-written shows ever. Vince Gilligan is a genius, and I was so happy to see this movie move Jesse's story along and give us a chance to see the extraordinary talents of Aaron Paul. We knew Jesse escaped in the season finale, but we always want to know what happens to our favorite characters after the final scene. So I love that they revisited this story and gave us a trajectory of where Jesse's life is heading. And this movie was satisfying, so that's why I loved it.
Good. That's awesome.
Brooke, what about you? Why did you love this movie?
Well, I love this movie because it was like giving us... the ending of Jesse Pinkman. It was hard to see Jesse just kind of leave off that way, and we're not sure what happened to him. And so I'm glad to see that he can have a happy ending, and he was able to go to Alaska and make it there.
Yeah.
And, I talk about Breaking Bad with people who haven't seen it, and I'm like, and they're watching shows very similar, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you have to watch Breaking Bad. So I highly recommend it. There was just... you've got the crime, the trafficking, just the story, the acting, and just how everything ties together, and the conspiracies, and how everyone's connected into this crazy organization. It's such a satisfying show, and I think it was extremely creative.
Yeah.
A science teacher cooking meth. So if you could give your award to your favorite character, quote, or moment, what would that be?
Well, mine would be a quote, and it's, "You're my hero and shit." That was so heartfelt and showed true loyalty, friendship, and love. Stinky Pete put himself on the line for his friend Jesse, and I just love that.
I love that too. That was so, so sweet.
What was your favorite, quote, character or moment, Brooke?
Well, my favorite character is Jesse, and my reason being I could never imagine being a prisoner and being tortured. I mean, look at the way that they showered him. They just took a fire hose and just scorched him with that. They made him test out the durability of his chain that he was linked to, and he could have cracked his ribs or his spine by running back and forth to see if he could break free. And just, they were treating him like an animal. And so to him to go through that type of PTSD and then escape all of that and just like snap out of it kind of really quickly. And his vulnerability was tested a couple times in the movie once he was released from captivity. And I just think that he did very well to get what he needed to get free from all of this, because that's ultimately what he's been trying to do throughout the season of Breaking Bad. So, Jesse Pinkman.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you. So that's our show. Thanks for tuning in. We are grateful that you tuned in, and we hope something we said today resonated with you, gave you a chuckle, some happiness, some positivity, or inspiration. Please subscribe to our podcast and tell a friend. We would love more members of our TV club. Rate and review the podcast on iTunes and Stitcher. We need your feedback, and we would love it too.
We'll be uploading new episodes Tuesday, November 12th. Next show will be on The Walking Dead Season 10, Episodes 4 and 5. You can find our website listed in our show notes. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.